Hi everyone, it's Jamlab here, and welcome to the first in a series of videos on how to set up Exchange 2013 on-premise and migrate it to Exchange Online. Primary reason for creating these videos is, as I've been chatting to various members of our team and other teams as well, there's a fantastic awareness of what Office 365 is and what it can deliver. But unfortunately, due to the way things have worked out for many of us, we haven't had as much hands-on experience delivering an end-to-end Office 365 Exchange Online migration project. So one of the things I wanted to do in this video was start creating our on-premise lab and then migrate Exchange 2013 to Office 365, and obviously deliver all the dependent components such as AAD Connect, ADFS, TMG, Edge services, all the certificates we need. So the aim of these videos is to have a complete set of guides from start to finish on how to set up and migrate to Office 365. The focus primarily in these series of videos is around Exchange. In subsequent series of videos, I'll be looking at OneDrive, ADFS, and some of the other services that Office 365 delivers. So let's start off by having a quick look at my lab. Okay, the lab itself is based on a Windows 10 workstation machine. I've got an Intel i7 4790 CPU running at 4 gigs, 32 gig of memory. So by no stretch of the imagination is it a big beefy machine. 32 gigs isn't that hard to come by, and it allows me to run all my virtual machines on-prem with no issues whatsoever. I'm running Hyper-V instead of my traditional VMware. I've got a domain controller, I've got 2 Exchange servers, and a Windows 2012 RAS server. That's to set up my VPN when I connect to Azure, and a test machine, a Windows 10 machine, and AAD Connect. I will be adding more machines to this lab as and when required when we go through the next set of videos. So if we just jump onto the domain controller, have a look in my Active Directory. The Active Directory has got a single user in there at the moment, but I've actually called it home.int, which is a non-internet routable domain name. And one of the reasons I did this was purely because a lot of our customers have domain names which are non-internet routable, yet they would want to migrate into something like jamlab.co.uk. So the way to get this to work, I had to create split DNS. Again, this is something we'll cover later on, but at the moment I've got my computers in there. I've chosen the 192.168.0.50 address range. It just seemed to be free on my crowded network at home. Okay, let's just close that, and let's have a look on our Exchange server. So the Exchange servers have been installed bog standard, nothing special. I've got a single account in there called administrator, which obviously is the administrator of the Exchange server, and one user called user1. I've added the namespace jamlab.co.uk, which actually is a domain name that I own. I think later on in the videos I'll be adding a secondary domain name of domain105.com. The reason I'm going to do that is, again, a lot of our customers actually have more than one domain name that they want to migrate, and it can be a tricky because some of these domain names may not be routable. And the send connector, I've got a single send connector in there which is to the internet, and I basically send it on to the internet for onward delivery using MX records. So that again goes through my Virgin Media router out into the internet. And one of the things to note about my Virgin Media router that assigns me my external IP address is that the IP address itself is a dynamic IP address, even though it's never ever changed since the day I got the router, but it's still classified as a dynamic IP address. The databases everything else is bog standard, so no certificates have been purchased yet. The standard exchange certificates are there. There's no database availability groups, and we come to this bit here, which is the hybrid. Again, later on in the videos when we go through the actual implementation, we'll be enabling the hybrid configuration. Let's just pop over to OWA. Okay, one of the things I did do was I actually try to send a message out to the internet to my domain105.hotmail.com, and as you can see from there, it did not deliver the message because it says my IP address that I'm sending from is a dynamically assigned IP address. Now, one of the things I had to do to resolve that, and one of the first things we'll do in the coming videos, is we'll be using Azure to set up an edge server for delivery of my emails, because that's got a public IP address that's not dynamic or associated with an ISP. It'll allow me to actually send messages out, so that's probably a must for a lot of us in our home. The remote routing server that I've installed 2 network cards, and I'm going to use this to create a site-to-site VPN when we connect to Azure and talk to the edge server, but we'll come back to that. And what I've also got is a Windows 10 machine for user 1 with Outlook 2016, I believe, installed. Okay, everything's just popping up. Let's just get rid of them and pop into Outlook 2016. Yeah, one of the things I noticed was because the standard certificates are issued by Exchange Server 1, they're not trusted by anyone else. Again, because I've done no prep in this. Traditionally, what you would do is you'd make sure, if you are to use the self-signed certificates, that your client machines would trust EX1, or you would have PKI issued certificate on-prem. Again, just looking, they've got 2 email addresses. jamlab.co.uk is the primary, and home.int, which is my default domain name, as the additional domain name. Okay guys, that was a very quick introduction to my on-premise lab. In the next portion, what we'll be doing is setting up a site-to-site VPN between my on-premise lab and my Azure tenant. Idea behind that is once that's all set up, I can start installing an Exchange Edge server and then use that to send messages out to the internet. Okay, thanks for your attention, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.